My 32 meters, best friend, and I-27F were in a situationship that just ended. This was the best thing that could happen, right? I first want to apologize. English is not my mother tongue. I'm asking for help because I already know that him finally leaving was actually a good thing. I just want you to read our story and all the things that happened and the ways in which we hurt each other. I am a people pleaser working on that. Anxious attachment self-diagnosed. C. And probably low self-esteem, though I don't think I have reasons for that, so please take that in consideration. I will refer to him as him. I know, original. So, we met about 2 years ago. We have the same friend group, and there was an instant spark. He is so different from anyone I have ever met. He dances, is smart, is so intelligent, high IQ, is an extrovert, fun to be around. He lights up every room he is in. He is interested in helping others, loves his family, loves to learn. But he is hurt. He broke up with his ex, maybe 4 years ago, 2 years. When I met him, he was devastated. So when we met, oh well, maybe is not the right time for us. But he was giving me a lot of attention, and he showed interest, so I was dumb and let myself fall for it, and it was amazing. But then we broke up, because, I am not ready for a relationship, he says, and it hurt, but I was okay with that. But he didn't stop. We kept communicating. He kept being cute and he kept showing interest, and because we have the same friend group, I just let him do it, because I like him dumb, I know. We became good friends, and he told me how he actually feels. Through time and a lot of different conversations, he showed me the person under all those wonderful traits. He is sad. He is mad at everything. He told me he would never take his own life, but he doesn't really care if he dies tomorrow. He told me so many things he has gone through: abuse, injustice, control over his life, so many things. I always was there for him. I wanted to be there for him, because I actually want him to be okay. To feel happy maybe. A part of me was trying to demonstrate to him that I was amazing and to demonstrate myself that I was worth of his love. Frick. That's so sad. We then became friends with benefits, which I hated, and he knew, and even tough I was happy with all the physical interaction. I realized that I was using that to fill the emotional void, and of course, it didn't work for me, so I wanted to end that, and I asked him so stop calling me. He accepted, but then after 1 or 2 days, he was back, letting me know he wanted me close to him. That same thing happened a couple times. Stupid me. He never wanted to formalize a relationship, even though a couple times he told me I was amazing and everything he ever wanted. But things got worse, and yesterday he got mad at me and left me. Okay, that is the general version, but I want to enlist some things he did, some things I did, and why I am so mad and why he is so mad. I'll try to enlist them in chronologic order, but is probably not 100% accurate. Things that he did. When we first broke up, he started flirting with a coworker, and I was hurt by that because at the same time he was still flirting with me and having physical intimacy. Not, actually. When we were literally kissing and cuddling. I asked him directly about her and he told me that they were getting to know each other. I told him I was not going to allow that. I asked him to stop talking to her, and he did, so I was okay with him again. But that thing he did provoked me trauma, so I never really trusted him again with his female friends. One time we were enjoying a meal with friends at some restaurant. We were outside the restaurant and tables, and some dude was playing music. I was happy and singing with some female friends those songs. I was having a great time. But then he told me that that music guy annoyed him, and I felt sad for being happy at that time. One time I wanted to go to a class, and I was so excited, and he and other of our friends were invited. He at first wasn't sure about going and I didn't pressure, but at the end, our other friend and I ended up going. When the 3 of us were there, he stayed at his car, watching the class through Zoom. I didn't understand why, but then, when the class ended, I wanted to meet some of the other assistants. I just wanted to make friends, but he started to pressure me through message to leave, and he was mad at me for wanting to stay. I didn't want to leave that fast, but he threatened me with leaving me, and I was like, okay, let me say bye, and then I left. Like 10 minutes after the class had ended, he had left by that time. He left me and our other friend, and I was like, oh well, that was rude, I think. He then called me and came back without me asking. He decided by himself, but I was with an underlying feeling of sadness for the rest of the day, because I really wanted to be in that class, and now it was a bad feeling. One time I had passed 2 months away, and I missed him and he said he missed me, but then, just the night before my flight to go back home, we fight. He was so mad because I told him a list of people I could ask to pick me up at the airport. I didn't ask him because I didn't want him to feel obligated to do that, because he hates being told what to do. So I just say something like, sure, I could ask A, B or C. to pick me up, and we were fighting for over an hour because how did I dare to mention another person before him? And I was trying to explain myself. The day after, when he and our female friend went for me to the airport, I was super sad. He had treated me badly the day before over the phone, and I was not happy to see him, but I was there and tried to comfort him because 2 weeks before, his mom died, and I was not trying to take all of his attention because I knew that he didn't needed that at that time. So even though I was so sad, I was there for him, because I knew that the loss of his mom was more important. I did everything in my power to be there for him when his mom was at the hospital and when she died, but I couldn't get out of the place I was in time. He made me return a gift that other friend had bought me. The gift was a passcode for a video game, so I couldn't return it, but I had to pay for it to my other friend, and of course it was awkward. The reason why I had to return it? Because when I met him, in the first weeks he wanted to buy me a snack and I declined because at that time I was trying to be nice and not abuse his kindness. I was not rude or anything. But then he was mad that I declined his offer to buy me something, but I accepted the gift from my other friend, and because of that, I was being inconsistent, and that was a year after I met him. He made me uninvite a guy he didn't like to an event with other friends. Okay, I think that was maybe okay. He was mad because I once chose another friend's car to go to a place to eat. There were other people going with him in his car, and the other person was alone in his car, and I didn't want to be rude and left him alone. Was I an AH for doing that? He still doesn't forgive me for that. All the times I told him to slow down, because he was driving fast, and he was fighting with other drivers. I think that is imprudent because in my country you never know if that other person has a weapon or something, and I felt unprotected, or worse, I felt like he was putting us in potential danger. Am I exaggerating? I can't count the times I was crying while he was driving me home. All the times I was the one to fix our problems, and talked with him for hours trying to find a common ground, and then, after hours, he calmed down and actually tried to fix the problem with me. I knew he was hurt, that's why I always put him before me. That's why I told myself that sometimes he hurt me unintentionally. Because he is in pain all the time. I was toxic too, I hurt him too, because I didn't understand my actions, because his communication was confusing for me. Or maybe I was just stupid. Not careful enough? It doesn't matter, I hurt him, I didn't want to hurt him. He didn't want to hurt me, but he is explosive when he is hurt, and I get hurt by that. I recently told him I needed space to process many things that happened that I can't process because he is always there making me feel good with his presence, and also I wanted to find myself again, to regain my independence from him. So we haven't really talked a lot recently, but he was always there, saying, "Good night," or something simple, to let me know he was thinking of me, and, of course, why I was happy and mad because of that. And that leads us to last night. I didn't wanted to attend to a party. I wasn't planning to tell him, but we had to talk about something and I mentioned that I wasn't coming. He insisted. He offered to pay my Uber and everything, and ended up going. But I paid my Uber because I didn't want to give an impression that I'm telling him I was not going so he could pay for my Uber or offer to pick me up. So, I went, and after the party he invited many people to go have dinner together, and we went to this restaurant. I didn't sit close to him, and I was close to other friends. So he texted me asking why, and I told him it was because I didn't saw him during the party and I was just there waiting for him. Without him telling me to wait, as always. So I decided to go to the restaurant with others to ask for the reservation. I knew I would see him there. And he got mad. He asked me to accept the invitation of one guy to drive me home just to decline it after and to choose him instead to drive me home. I didn't want to do that. I was not even planning to let that guy drive me home, but him got even more mad. I told him I was going to take an Uber to go home. TBH, I didn't wanted him control me like that again. That is why I was trying to maintain firm on my duh. He threatened me to stop talking to me if I declined the guy's invitation to drive me home. I declined everyone's invitations, so he went home. But it was late and I couldn't get an Uber. I was cold, alone and afraid. He then called me again. He was screaming at me. He told me I was stupid, and I was crying alone in the street. He told me he would come back for me if I promised to fix this the way he wanted. I was so overwhelmed that I accepted. But then he said that because of that we could not be friends anymore. He took me home and then we were talking for hours over the phone. I told him I accepted his choice, but I didn't want that IDK. Maybe a part of me actually wanted that since long ago, but my heart didn't want that. We talked. He told me he knew he had hurt me and that he hurt himself, that he was grateful to have me. I told him I was mad at him for many things, but even though I was mad, I don't hate him, I actually love him. I still think he can be an amazing person, but not right now. He has to heal so many things, and I wanted to be with him during that process, but not anymore. I'm so sorry for the long and disorganized history. I sure left so many things out of the story because I can't remember everything, and some things require a long context. I just want you to let me know that it was a good thing he left because I wasn't strong enough to do that. That this is going to help us both be better. We both need to be better. Please consider this is my side of the story, and I don't consider him the villain. I just need to not pretend nothing has happened, and to do that I wanted to write some things he did that hurt me. You can make questions if you want context or info or something. Thank you. Less than 3.